Alright, so I put up a community poll asking who you guys would want to see Jacques de Molay go up against in one of these versus videos. I'm trying to bring these back and make them a little more common because I know it's pretty good to like talk about the servant and then put it into actual practice and be like, okay, but here's how they compare to a very similar servant. And who do I think is better and who do I think like does this job better than this servant, but you know, the other servant does, you know, whatever job better as well. Like, I think it's just really good to have said discussions as well. It kind of helps people look at things from a different angle and whatnot. So I was asking who you guys wanted me to pit Jacques up against, and the two most common ones were Voyager and Edmond Dantes, and I think Jacques is a little more similar to Voyager. In fact, you know, just looking at everything that they do, they really come down to the wire that they are just almost identical in what they do. There's little differences here and there, but if you're just looking like at both of them with like a cursory glance, you'd be like, oh, they both got like 50% batteries, they're both bringing like insane team support, they've even got the same crit buff, right? So it's like at a passing glance I can understand someone being like, it's really hard for me to determine like who I think is better between these two. So hopefully at the end of this video we'll kind of get to an answer and, you know, people can rest easier at night or something. But with that being said, we're on the road to 100k. If you would just leave a like and subscribe on the video, you know, I do these videos every single day and that would greatly help your boy out. The road to 100k is a long and arduous one, but with everybody's support, I know we can make it there. So help your boy out with that like and that subscribe. You can click that join button to become a channel member as well if you feel so inclined. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start talking about these servants. Now, the first notable thing that we want to talk about is that they both have different decks, right? So Jacques, as you can tell, is going to probably be outputting a bit more damage if you're just like looking at both of their decks, because she has the double quick, double buster, singular arts deck, whereas Voyager, you can tell he's going to be looping his NP a bit easier, not only because he has like 50 million different ways to get his NP, but he also has the double quick, double arts deck. So already you can kind of see when you're looking at their decks, one is more conducive to be doing big boy damage, right, or just to be outputting more damage, whereas the other servant is going to be, you know, just genning and refunding their NP a bit more often, right? So, and you'll kind of see that as we start getting into this. I mean, let me just go ahead and like show that they both have a 50% battery. Now, Voyager has just one big meaty girthy battery, whereas Jacques over here has it split. But the fun thing is that she has the first battery that's 20% goes to the entire party, and the second one is just like a selfish personal battery for herself. So it's probably better, I would say, that she has a way to get a 50% battery, but 20% of that is going to the entire party as well. I'll give Jacques the W on that one, but again, for like practicality and farming purposes, they both just have a 50% battery. But then this boy Voyager over here just like has 50 billion different like separate NP gauges. So for free, anytime he pops his NP, he's going to be getting an additional 20% NP back. And then if you're a living human, he's also giving you an additional 10% extra NP, which, like, if we just look at some of these living human servants, there's really good servants in here that you could pair him with. Like, obviously someone like Mash is very good, Karen's very good, Miyu is very good after a buff. Same with Fujino. Estrella is solid. Chloe's one of the best free-to-play servants in the game. Parvati's a top-tier servant. Shiki's one of the best free-to-play units in the game. Muramasa is really good. Ilya's really good after her buff. Ishtar, both of them are very solid. Reigns is going to be very good because you want to get her NP for the negation of different like class disadvantages and everything. And then you have like, well, I mean, yeah, like I was gonna say like these guys down here, but I was like, these guys are actually more solid. I was like, let me not gas them up. Now Waver's really good. You do want to get his NP as well, but I was really about to like start gassing up Jaguar Man and stuff. But I was like, let me not gas them up after saying that like Chloe's one of the best units in the game and Muramasa. I was like, I don't know if I want to put Jaguar Man in that same sentence, dude. That might be a little cap, but there's really good servants in here, even though it's a little limited and only 20 different servants. But this is still like a very solid list to have. Like if it's gonna be limited like this, having it be that good is also really good. The other thing that people will criticize Voyager for is that he has pretty low attack. And it's like, oh, well, he's not going to be doing a whole lot of damage, which is kind of compounded with his second skill. So you'll look at this and you'll be like, oh, he's getting like a 20% quick buff, and he's getting like the reduction to all enemies quick resistance, or one enemy's quick resistance by 20%. even though they're both only 20%, you're kind of like double buffing yourself in a way. But the problem when it comes to farming is that, like, let's say you really just have to save this for the last node, but you don't want to because you want the quick buff to have your NP do more damage and to help out your NP gain. So you're kind of in like this really odd position where it's like, do you waste the second skill on like node 1 just because you want the quick buff, but then you're sacrificing this for node 3 and you're fighting the really strong opponent? It just kind of like puts you in a little bit of an awkward position. You really shouldn't ever be in a position though where you're worrying about NP, because again, like, he's got a 50% battery and he's like just gassing up his NP like crazy. And then if you're lucky, like if you're kind of paying attention to things, you can just have him fight, you know, nodes where there's sky attribute enemies, which, like, come on, bro, like, not a whole lot of people, but this is a decent chunk of people. Like, we see Chunky King over here sometimes, we see Ishtar sometimes, like Karna's not uncommon, Ku's not uncommon, and he's a Voyager. I almost said he's a Voyager, not a foreigner. He's a foreigner, so you can bring him to fight any of these people, right? Because he's one of those extra class servants that is just kind of like generally good for doing whatever. Not a whole lot of super effective mods here, but basically bring him to whatever you want, right? And he'll do pretty good. So that's kind of the main breakdown for him, is that, like, you want to loop a lot with your NP, whereas Jacques over here is providing a lot to the party, right? Like, Jacques, I think, has this really, really powerful skill 1 where she's giving everybody crit damage, she's giving everybody attack, which, to be fair, Voyager on his 3rd skill is also buffing up the entire party's crit damage as well. I want to take that away from him. And, you know, he's giving them a little bit of crit defense as well, so let me not take that from him, which, I mean, I believe, like, Jacques also had that. Nope, I'm misremembering. I thought she had that as well, but I might be thinking of Zenobia. But she has this very, very powerful charisma where she's buffing up and she's giving them like just 3 general buffs that are very good, and then she's giving them the evil alignment, which can give you some synergy with people like Ashia Domin or Gramps, you know, Gramps Archer over here, if you want to give him the buff. Like, it's just really good with stuff like that. And then it also means that she has an AoE invincibility, which I think is just an absolute killer when it comes to like challenge quests. Having somebody with an AoE invincibility, I mean, we've all used Merlin before, right? I mean, there's gonna be like the one person in the comments that's like, I've never gotten to use Merlin before, but let me tell you there, buddy, for that one dude that's never used Merlin, having this AoE nope skill where you just like flip off the enemy party and just tell them, you're not doing anything to me. This entire turn, my whole party is covered. And since it's invincibility, you know, it can only be bypassed with like Pierce invincibility or them removing your buffs. But generally you can kind of plan for that. Like, if I know that the boss is going to have like permanent invincibility, I'll probably just go more for the line of like Castoria with solemn defense than bringing somebody whose main method of survivability is invincibility. Or I might just, you know, roll the dice, right? I might just try my luck. But I think at the end of the day, what I'm kind of getting at is that I just think Jacques is a little more modern in a way, and I think the way she's built is more preferable to someone like me, right? Like, I just think like having the raw 50% battery is good, but when you split it, not only is this good for challenge quests, because in the Jacques video I talked about this, there's sometimes where the bosses will start draining a lot of your NP, and so this way you didn't blow your load with one massive battery, you've split it. So it's like, I know they're going to start draining NP, so, you know, I can get a 50% battery total, but I can, you know, kind of use one because I want to get, say, some of these effects, but then I'm only kind of giving up the 20% and I can get this 30% later. Like, it just leads and makes you a more flexible servant. And then the fact that she still gets that 50% battery, but then is also sharing 20% of that with the entire party, I think that's just highly valuable, right? And then you obviously have, like, her giving 10 stars every turn instead of just Voyager dropping 10 stars once. Like, it's just a little more power crept. Like, and you don't have the weird notion of like, oh, I can't use her quick skill because I don't know if I want to waste my dodge. I don't know if I want to waste my quick resistance down skill. Like, I don't know if I want to waste all this. You don't even got to worry about that. Plus, she has a buff where it's applicable to anybody. It's only 50% as opposed to Voyager's 150% buff. But the reason it's so much less is that you can slap this on anybody, right? Because her NP is smacking people with curse damage, right? Funny enough, they both have the same overcharge effect, like exactly the same overcharge effect. Well, actually, his is a bit worse because hers actually stacks, right? Because if you're looping, this is going to get stronger every single time. It's the Senji Muramasa effect. So that's actually, I could have sworn yours was 3 turns. That's actually a massive point against you, because that means she's going to be getting stronger every single NP, and it means like farming with her gets easier and easier with every single hit. Like if you've used someone like Muramasa, you know that's really good for him, because if you don't know, Muramasa on his NP is stacking arts and NP damage buff, so basically every NP it's getting easier and easier to loop, and he's hitting harder and harder. So like these are very, very good on servants where like you want a 3-turn a challenge quest, which she's quick, which I mean that's kind of the name of the game, is 3-turning challenge quests, or if you're 3-turn farming, it makes her really good for that. So I think at the end of the day, I would definitely tell you, if there were 2 banners and it was like Jacques is on banner 1, Voyager is on banner 2, I would probably tell you to go summon for Jacques like 9 times out of 10, unless for whatever reason you just don't like the edgy girl. I don't know if this is like Moe category. I don't really know what to make of this. It's edgy librarian lady. I don't really know what to call her. But maybe you like spaceships, right? Maybe you're just like, hey, look, Ascension, what is it, 3? Where he's got like the cool jacket. Yeah, like maybe you're like, bro, the bomber jacket is super dope, right? Like I think that's really cool. Like then you could go for Voyager, but aside of personal preferences, like, come on, bro, like she's just looking pretty consistently better. Like it's kind of hard for me to say. Like, yeah, I think I've kind of made my case. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I don't really think there's any more detail I really need to go into, because I'm like, bro, she just does everything better. But in the next video, we're going to be doing Zenobia versus Jean Archer, which that's actually going to be tearing my soul apart, because Zenobia and Jean are like the 2 main waifus, right, for me. So it's like I got to actually compare both of them and have them fight, bro. That's going to be really rough. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. All that good stuff, you know, make sure you like and subscribe, all that, you know, fun YouTuber-y stuff to help your boy get to 100K. But with that being said, you guys have yourselves a nice day. Peace, late, guys.